Is your data exploited?
Do you feel that your data is exploited?
Do you feel that your data is exploited?
We got Neptune, we got Guillaume, we've got Aidan, we've got Jamie.
Do you feel that your data is exploited?
I feel my intelligence is exploited.
Then we got Emma, Andrea, and Valentina. Okay, so in a word, so there's a couple of things there. The one is about the selling of the data, but the other thing is about, and a few people have mentioned this, the control, where it goes, and we don't feel that we're in control, I suppose, of where it's going.
I should have a choice. Not to be on Facebook, not to be on Twitter, not to be on social media, not to watch TV, if that's what I want.
Very technical people, but we are arriving. Sorry. It's okay? Yes. Hello, welcome for Laser Talk in Imal, because this is also quite important Laser Talk because it links to the exhibition that you will see after, and it will last here for 2 months. And the name of the exhibition is What is Wisdom is in Calculated World, Code Algorithm. And just few words, what is Laser Talk about? Because this is a program, international gathering between artists, scientists, humanists, technologists together for informal performances, conversation, and mostly the idea is to spread with our information, our idea with the wider public. And Laser Talk is to encourage contribution to the cultural environment of a region for fostering interdisciplinary dialogues and opportunity for community building. And today we have here 5 panelists, and we have our moderator. She is with us. Yes. She is a curator of this exhibition, and this exhibition was organized, produced by Fundación Telefónica and curated by Manuela Navo. And I would like just also to say you a few words about her, because it's her biography is very interesting. And she is a university professor, independent curator, and an art-based researcher. For almost 18 years, she worked as curator and project manager at Ars Electronica Linz, where she developed the Ars Electronica export department together with artistic director Gerfried Stocker, and led it operationally since its inception. Since 2020, Manuela Navo has been a university professor for critical data at the Art University Linz, Department Interface Cultures, which she is heading since February 2023. Previously, she has held teaching position on the topics art science at the Paris London University and Salzburg, the Danube University Krems, among others, and in 2021 she was invited as the guest professor at the Technical University in the Vienna Future Lab. Her monography, Crowd and Art, Kunst and Participation in Internet, was published in 2017 by Transcript Verlag, Germany. The book is based on her dissertation, for which she received the Award of Excellence from the Federal Ministry of Science, Research and Economy in 2016. So we have this important person with us, and she will introduce you to another panelist who is not less important than she is.
Thank you very much, Alexandra, for the introduction. Yeah, welcome to Code and Algorithm, What is Wisdom in a Calculated World? Question mark. The question mark is very important. Somehow it got lost because this exhibition was already traveling from Spain to Brussels. It was already lost in Spain, I have to say. It came back now in Brussels. And I'm actually very happy for the opportunity, Lucia, Anna, to have this exhibition showing here with the wonderful artists that are participating: Diego Diaz, Manu Lux, Kyriaki Goni, Danya Vasiliev sitting here, Egor Kraft coming soon, and a lot of artists that are not here, so not all the artists actually are here. We will have a short discussion on the topic of like what is wisdom in a calculated world, and that's actually everything. So we were saying, okay, in the beginning we use this 1.5 hours also to reflect and think together, and then we go over into the nice time and just drink and chat and yeah. Ooh, exactly. Cool. Let's start immediately. I would like to start with an introduction to Manu Lux. Manu has the Atlas of the Liminal downstairs, you will see it, but she will show us something different also now. Manu Lux, through her artistic practice, Manu interrogates conceptions of progress with a strong emphasis on research, collaboration, and new forms of engagement. Her films and artworks raise critical interdisciplinary questions about the political and technological circumstances of particular forms of contemporary imagery, and how these can be deployed to question or critique the same systems they arise from. International awards and fellowships include Outstanding Artist Award in 2023, Denning Visiting Artist Stanford University in 2021, School of Law Birkbeck Visiting Artist in 2020, Sonta Award 65th Kurzfilm Festival in Oberhausen in 2019, Open Society Fellowship in 2018, Best Featured Austrian Film Press Award and Moscow International Documentary Film Festival in 2016. And yeah, I hand over to Manu. Short introduction. Everybody has around 5 minutes time for presentation. I will have a look on the time. I will give you a sign when that we actually are really see that we keep the time. There is a place for one question after each presentation. So if something is burning, yeah, tell me, raise your hand or speak to me with your eyes. However, we have one possibility of a question directly after the talk, but then we keep the questions also for the last round. So 5 minutes presentation, one question, 5 minutes presentation, one question, 5 minutes presentation, one question, and then in the end we will do the discussion. I really hope that you are participating and that you also bring us your question. Manu, please.
Thank you, Manuela, for the generous introduction, for having me here. It's such a pleasure. I decided to give the floor to AIs in introducing the tensions that I'm interested in. So I'm going to play this video, which seems a fitting introduction to this forthcoming debate. No?
Well, so.
Okay, so we're talking about data being exploited. Is your data exploited? Come and talk about it on the table. Do people feel that their data is exploited?
So we're talking about data being exploited. Is your data exploited?
Do you feel that your data is exploited?
Do you feel that your data is exploited?
We've got Neptune, we've got Guillaume, we've got Aidan, we've got Jamie.
Do you feel that your data is exploited?
I feel my intelligence is exploited.
Then we've got Eva, Andrea and Valentina. Okay, so in a word, okay, so there's a couple of things there. The one is about the selling of the data, but the other thing is about, and a few people have mentioned this, the control, where it goes, and we don't feel that we're in control, I suppose, of where it's going.
I should have a choice. Not to be on Facebook, not to be on Twitter, not to be on social media, not to watch TV, if that's what I want, and still be able to fully participate in society and to express my views.
It's about control. You're not in control of your data. You're not even in control of your eyeballs because you find yourself later having scrolled for 2 hours.
You end up spending like 2 hours on the site, and I'm like, what the hell did I just do? And I think a lot of people have this problem, and when that happens, then your intelligence is exploited, because you're basically shown stuff you didn't really want to watch, but you were tricked. Hey, this is moving. Hey, this is interesting. And you don't even realize.
Ah, you see.
GDPR has put us legally back in control, but there's so much bureaucracy to action a GDPR request. So it's true that technically, we're not there yet, when it comes to actually exercising the rights offered by GDPR. But we can get there, and there are a lot of smart people working on protocols and open standards that will allow this to happen. But yes, at this point it's very bureaucratic, very heavy on the user.
GDPR is actually about privacy by design, and by default, not about informed consent. So, if we manage to efficiently enforce it, we're in a much better place. And this lowers the responsibility on the user of being knowledgeable and educated. Well.
So, let me tell you what I want. I want to exercise the right to access my data, to correct my data, to delete it via something programmatic. And I want interoperability. For my data to be transferred from one company to another if I choose. Seamlessly. A one-click thing.
Separate the data layer from the service layer.
I would like to see if it's a good thing for us if we separate the data layer from the service layer, so that Facebook and Twitter and all these companies don't do all of it. Collect the data, host the data, and exploit the data.
Separate the data layer from the service layer.
Separate the data layer from the service layer.
Okay, so we're talking about they're not in control of this data. They're not even in control of their eyeballs because they find themselves 2 hours later having scrolled for 2 hours. Come and get involved with this. So you don't choose to use any social media?
I don't.
And what do you choose?
I choose to talk to people.
Yeah, just simply tell me. Well, you're in the perfect place in a way. Yeah. But so you don't choose to use any social media?
I don't.
The day when we are not able to switch them off, we'll remember sitting here together and discussing. Who's next?
Manu, do we have a second? Do we have a second? Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Super. Manu, can you because we still have a little bit of time, so separating the data layer from the service layer. What can you talk a little bit more about it?
So these avatars are discussing data rights on the basis of quotes that we took from a real discussion that happened at MozFest. And the gulping, the silence is something they really struggle with. These kind of avatars. So. So here we also use the title of Harun Farocki's widely known piece. I thought I was seeing. I thought I was seeing citizens. Yeah, so we turned it. I thought I was hearing citizens, referring to this complete disintegration of the citizen within a technological framework. The sense of responsibilities, of justifications, of so much starts to shift once we introduce technologies into our interaction. And yeah, so that's what this video is trying to express and make experienceable on a guts level, I would say. Like you listen to the conversation, but your guts tell you there's something not right, and I hope we're gonna discuss what is it that's not right, or is it just the fear of change, of something new, of something different? Yeah, and the way it builds up on my body of work is, as you said, I'm very critical about this techno-centered notion of progress, probably to do with me being one of these children of the, I don't know, Californian utopian moment in the mid-90s, when I actually did think that the introduction of the World Wide Web would bring a lot of changes to the existing power structures, would really allow niche voices to meet in that global village. You know, this is all the language of the 90s. And so when certain realities were catching up, and especially the other, like surveillance practices became very, very common with September 11, and then the dot-com possibilities. I felt that it's a much more necessary and urgent work to question these side effects that come along with the products of comfort, acceleration, and ease as they're being sold, sometimes under the name of smart, sometimes under the name of cognitive, or today we will discuss intelligence. That's the packaging and what's beneath.
And it was it was very impressive having done also this kind of last sentence, so where there's actually, who is then standing actually behind it? Is there still somebody? Is this speaking for a mass of people, a multiplicity of persons, or is actually nobody standing then actually behind? So this embodiment that is not there, or that is there, I don't know. Touching.
I would say the person that stands behind is not the face that we see. It's not what it seems to be. Who stands behind are, let's say, the data cleaners in Kenya who have to, clean the training data from beheadings and other gruesome things, and we don't hear about them, or all these kind of, or the people on the sites of mining of all the raw materials that we need in order to create these blips of AI. So they are actually behind. But are these really the voices that get ever empowered through these new tools.
And voices can also be constructed, and doesn't have to. In your case, it was real voices; it was persons that you actually.
No, the voices.
Also, not the voices one. Okay.
No.
Okay. I was thinking that you have it from the festival when you met them.
Oh yes, it was mixed in.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. The question of like this question of responsibilities is a big question. Like who is standing behind and who is taking responsibility? If there's a person taking responsibility about something or not, is of course a big question also in research, right? Anna, I would hand over to you. I have to find the biography. Ana Maria Barragan Montero. Thank you. Anna is senior researcher at the UC Louvain, working in artificial intelligence methods for healthcare. In particular, she develops AI models to analyze medical images and predict optimal treatments for cancer patients. She studied physics at University Complutense in Madrid, Spain, and moved to Belgium in 2013 for a PhD in optimization algorithms to improve proton therapy treatments for cancer patients. After graduating in 2017, she moved to the United States to the Medical Artificial Intelligence and Automation Lab at UT Southwestern, where she started to apply deep learning models for medical imaging. Since then, she has been working in the field of AI for healthcare. In addition, Anna is part of the non-profit organization CEBE, Spanish Scientists Abroad, where she shares her passion for science communication and reach out.
Thank you. So I don't have any video or anything, just me talking. So what I can say is like I work in a very particular application for healthcare, in particular for radiation therapy for cancer patients. And so there is a hype in AI, as we all know, but the reality is that those models are coming to the clinic and they are being used today for patients that are being treated in the clinic today. So we realized that these models are good, but because they are based on data, we don't have guarantees of a good performance. And sometimes the clinicians doesn't know if the algorithm is, like here, it's easy to say they are fake or there is something wrong, right? But for a clinician, sometimes it's difficult to see if the answer of the AI with a suggestion for a treatment for a cancer patient is right or not. Because those models are very powerful. It's like they have much more eyes than we do, and sometimes they extract correlations from data that we are not able to process. So sometimes there is an automation bias there, like, okay, the clinician, should I trust the model or not? So there is a shift in the community now in working on AI algorithms that tell you a suggestion, so a prediction, an answer, but also is telling you the level of uncertainty the model has for that particular prediction. And that's very important for clinicians because then they can build some trust in the algorithms and use it or not, depending on the level of uncertainty that these algorithms are saying. And so we are working a lot on that, and also educating people. So what you are saying, because this is coming very fast, and so the clinicians are there. They don't know what the algorithm is doing, that they're still using it because it works well. So now we are trying to have lectures for clinicians to know what are these models doing, etc., and inform them that those algorithms are so based in the data that if your data is wrong, your predictions are going to be wrong. So if in the past you were doing errors in the treatments because of, I don't know, science goes very fast, and also the treatment for patients. So maybe something that 10 years was okay, today is not okay anymore because we have new machines, etc. So you cannot use data from the past to treat models of today because it will not be accurate anymore. So we try to take into account that thing into algorithms. Also try to see the data and the possible bias in the data, because we are humans and sometimes we do make errors ourselves. Some mental disease are sometimes over or under diagnosed. So if we base our algorithms in those data, then we use it just blindly, then we are doing it wrong, right? So this is what I'm trying to do, trying to provide clinicians with some tools to better trust the algorithms and to have a safer implementation, and to explain why the algorithm is behaving in this or the other way.
Thank you very much. I mean, when you say the data from the past, that does not mean that they can be applied, which means that everything that has been trained on data from the past does not also mean it cannot be used again. Any kind of model that has been trained then actually on data from the past. And you have to do this kind of safety regulations around it, but how can you re-engineer this, or which kind of possibilities do we actually have to understand this? So which kind of possibilities do we have actually to understand this?
So one thing is just very rudimentary. So just go in the data and do data curation, like you mentioned before, and be sure that the data you are using, it's okay. Another thing is to work on the algorithms, and so maybe dig into the algorithm and see where, if you have an image, for instance, where your algorithm is looking at the image to make the decision. And so you as human, but the human is always on, there is always a pilot on the machine, so it's the human. And so you can use these algorithms that tell you where your model is looking at, but at the end is the human that need to detect if something is wrong. And there is, you mentioned before the question of responsibility. That's now a big question in the field because you have companies providing these models and you have clinicians using them, and the ultimate responsible for the treatment of the patient is the clinician. So if the clinician gets a suggestion to give this treatment to the patient, and it's because the model of the company was wrong, there is today a legal void, let's say, to go against the company, because the ultimate responsibility for the patient is the clinician. Is not the one who made the algorithm. I guess that with time maybe that will change, because this is came very fast. Like in 5 years, I've seen a huge change. But it's a good question, the question on who is behind, who is responsible for this.
And let me quickly have a look on it. Question of diversity. I mean, when you say, okay, a human has to be there in order to have a look on the data and do this kind of data curation, then it's actually a human, so it's actually one person. But speaking about like different angles of looking at a problem needs actually different mindsets, different persons, and somehow a diverse way in looking at this. And I think in this kind of feminist approach in working with AI, this is one of the main issues that we actually ask for. So how to bring in the topic of diversity into like working with data, working with algorithms, and what is there in your field? What are you observing? What can you share here with us?
Yeah, it's again a very important topic, and that can really lead to dramatic consequences for patients in our case. Like there has been people showing that, for instance, models that are trained in thorax CTs, because you train them, if the majority of your data is male patients, then you have a breast cancer patient and then it doesn't work well. Or also some models in the United States, where the healthcare is, well, no comments on that, but it's very based on the insurance you have. So depending on your social level, you can have a better treatment or not. So models that have been trained on those data were suggesting treatments that were not right, because in the data there was, for instance, the black population were receiving worse treatments because they have worse insurance to pay the treatments, and so automatically the model was suggesting a worse treatment for them because they are based on the data they had. And so the data said this patient should have this treatment, right? So it's very important to ensure the diversity in your data. But today there are not much tools to do that, apart from the human behind being aware of it and including diversity.
Thank you very much. I think this is also a topic that we will discuss then also then afterwards. For the opening question, what is wisdom in a calculated world? I would like to hand over now also to Diego. So how to understand code and algorithms today. Diego, Diego is actually partnering up with Clara Boy, also in the exhibition downstairs, with their work that they actually present. And Diego and Clara have been working together since 2000. Since then, they investigated how new digital technologies transform our society. Initially, they developed physical interaction and non-linear narrative systems to investigate and promote social and physical interaction in public space. And recently, they are analyzing how the Internet of behavior could transform our idea of the future, especially its effects in our society, when computers could totally understand and predict our behavior. Currently, Diego Das is an associate professor at Universitat Jaume, where he teaches Jaume, where he teaches experimental video game design.
Okay, that's the matter. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, I don't know how to put full screen with this software. I don't know. But doesn't matter, I can do like this. Anyway, thank you very much, Manuela, for inviting me to come here. Email people, and also from the exhibition from Telefonica, we are very happy to show our project. So basically, we have been working in the last year for this topic about can machine predict our future, no? And we think that wisdom is related with the topic of machine learning and prediction, of course. So what we are talking about, I would like to introduce about the atmospheric prediction, no? In the history of humanity. If we come from very, very long time ago, like 340 years before Jesus Christ, no? Aristotle is the guy who defined meteorology, no? So in the book with the same name, meteorology. And after that, the different technology arise, like Leonardo da Vinci, Galileo with the thermometer, and then an endoscope. No? Like different tools, different technology that allow us to collect more data about the weather and to make a better prediction every time, no? To improve the atmospheric prediction using probabilistic methods. But today the predictions are very well in 3 days in advance, no? After 3 days in advance with this probabilistic method, no? Who are mostly based on physics algorithms. But it was very funny because I was preparing this talk, and just yesterday, on 14th of November, our friend Google released GraphCast. I don't know if you already know about this. It's the powerful today deep learning algorithm in order to predict weather forecast. It is trained with all the data from atmospheric in the world data from atmospherics in the last 40 years. And they do this deep learning technology that allows to predict 10 days in advance with a 90% better prediction than the previous model. So the advance is huge, no? It's quite sophisticated system, and the system is very, very much powerful and precise. As I say before, 90% more precise than the previous probabilistic model. No? So here is a huge step thanks to the deep learning. So my question here, or my interest of research, is how we could use deep learning for social prediction, social movement, to predict people, no? People behaviors, no? And this is the idea of doing a probabilistic analysis of human behaviors, which is more accurate, it could be more accurate every day, and how we could social engineering as a predicting and modify human behaviors. No? So this is more, the idea is, or the question, one of the questions is, can we consider that magician who since the ancient time, no, inspired to control the future of our civilization, like the tarot or the magician or the in the primitive societies, no, the people who believe that they could learn, they could predict the future, no. So this idea, these people want to have the power to predict the future, but now we are reaching the moment that technology, machines, are able to predict that future, probably, no? So in that context, we developed this project in the 2017, which is called Data Biography. What we did is to write our biography. That I did all this research with my partner, Clara, my wife, Clara Boch, and me. What we did is we hack our mobile phones with pirate software, and we collect all our digital data or our digital trace. And we printed out in books. So we print 365 books, one per day. We just is raw data without cleaning, everything is there, with all our digital interaction with the world. So we call this is like the data biography, is like the biography of our lives, no? From the year 2017. This is an example of the books where all the lines with the data is there. No? So we can express there the incredible amount of data that everybody, as everybody knows, no? We every time are generating and sharing with most of the time without knowledge that, no? For example, I mean, each column is a month and each book is a day. After that, I continue thinking and research, and I found the Laplace demon, revival of Laplace demon, sorry, Laplace demon, no? For the big data lovers, and this is you can read there, no? What Laplace was in a philosophical essay of probabilities in the 1902, wrote this, in this essay, he brought what is called today a science demon, no? And I say, if the devil knew the precise location and moment of each atom in the universe, the past and the future values of it for any given time will be deductible from that data. So he was talking about correlation, that now we are always talking about, no? The correlation of data. He already think about that. No? Of course, the word correlation was not there, but it's the idea. No, so the idea is could be calculated from the everything could be calculated from the laws of classical mechanics. No? So let's say that the classical mechanics was the wisdom or the technology, the knowledge at that moment. No? Now we have other knowledge, other wisdom. So what we are entering, or we are already there in the Internet of Behaviors. Internet of Behavior is, as a definition, is like the evolution of Internet of Things. It means that if we have a world where everything is connected, no? Everything is sending information and data between them, the next step, of course, is use all this data with this sharing, no? Is analyze it and use for different purposes, no? So people, no, they call this Internet of Behavior, which is like analyzing the data, and trying to predict, trying to understand that data, and trying to predict human behaviors. No? with different ideas and so on. No? So from me, this is a very interesting and the key point of the topic, because we are reaching the moment where, the moment where the future could be statistically deducido? Predicted? No, could be the future statistically predicted. No? So the idea is predicting human behaviors. So the project that we did after that is we create our biography. We train different artificial intelligence models for predict our futurable predictable activity for the year 2050 for Clara and me. And this model were trained with our data collected for the previous project, the data biography, the project that I showed already there. No? So we took different artificial intelligence model, put inside this model all this data, and we generate again 365 books, which are the one that you can see downstairs in the show, in the exhibition, where all this book has the data that we possibly will do in the year 2050. And just for finalize, I have this question there, is like, what will be the effect of our society when machine wisdom can predict human behavior? So this is the question, no, that I will finish with this question. Okay. Because Manuela is always asking, no, talking about wisdom, machine wisdom, and so on. And if do I have 2 minutes more? Yeah. Okay, just for answer this question. For answer this question, I have the idea yesterday night when I prepared the presentation to yes, it's here, to ask this question to ChatGPT. And I have the answer, and I would like to, we can listen it. Let's see.
That is a very interesting and complex question. There is no definitive answer, but I can share some possible scenarios based on the current trends and research in machine learning and human behavior. One possible effect is that machine wisdom could help humans make better decisions by providing insights, recommendations, or feedback based on data and algorithms. For example, machine learning could help humans improve their health, education, or career outcomes by analyzing their behavior patterns and suggesting personalized interventions or actions. Machine learning could also help humans avoid or mitigate conflicts, biases, or errors by detecting and correcting them in real time. This could lead to a more harmonious, efficient, and productive society, where humans and machines collaborate for smart decision-making. Another possible effect is that machine wisdom could challenge or threaten human autonomy, privacy, or dignity by manipulating, exploiting, or replacing human behavior. For example, machine learning could influence human preferences, opinions, or emotions by presenting tailored or persuasive information or stimuli. Machine learning could also monitor, track, or expose human activities, interactions, or identities by collecting and analyzing massive amounts of data. Machine learning could even surpass or eliminate human capabilities, roles, or values by learning and performing tasks that require creativity, intuition, or morality. This could lead to a more polarized, insecure, or dehumanized society, where humans and machines compete or conflict for power or resources too. These are just some hypothetical scenarios, and the actual effects of machine wisdom on human behavior may depend on many factors, such as the design, implementation, and regulation of machine learning systems, as well as the awareness education, and participation of human users. Therefore, it is important to consider the ethical, social, and legal implications of machine learning, and to ensure that it is aligned with human values and interests. 3. Thank you for your question. Smile.
Okay. Well, yeah. Thank you very much, Diego. So, behavior based on data. But as you also have it done actually with your own work, there you created synthetic data. And imagining now that that more and more synthetic data are somehow also fed into these systems that actually have no reaction to or no relation to any body anymore, yeah, or that actually what does this mean even when we think about like predicting and working actually and being like having for example a prediction on what you're doing, but in the year 2050, but actually maybe you retrained it based on the synthetic data, or maybe let's say 2000 or 2100, and you feed the system with all the data that you generated for 2050 for this possible data. So what for me, or general, this question of synthetic data, how do we deal with that?
I have no idea. No, of course. Yes, for me, it's, when you were talking about synthetic data, no, the idea is, for example, if we look at the model that are generating images now, this model has been trained with images that have been created by humans. But the new models, or the model that in the future is going to be trained for create images, are going to be trained with images that has been already created by other artificial intelligence models. So at the end, it's something like the data create more data, and probably this data could be every time more distance from the proper human, no? From the body of the person, no? Because it has been generated something like a first, second, or third generation of models that after a moment they are arriving, they are trained with data who is generated by other models, no? We could lose control, no? What I think is interesting about the GPT, the answer that they give us to that we are really listening, is that ChatGPT gives us two kind of answer, no? The positive and the negative scenario, no? The relationship with utopic and dystopic, no? So we are always dealing with that in technology. It has been always like that, probably will be always like that. So this is something that we have to reflect, of course, and we have to think, and we have to try to be on the proper way, on the to be as close as possible to the utopian scenario, no? But as was talking before, no, trying to clean the data, trying to find the bias, trying to look into the black box, no, in black box, no, of the model, try to go inside and try to find a way of making good models. I don't know. But for me, the big question is also the power of control of humanity that this model or this technology could have. No? Imagine that we already know what we are going to do tomorrow, or we could know what will be our life in 20 years. What energy or what interest I will have in order to live, to wake up tomorrow. I don't know if I explains, you know, if you know what you are going to do tomorrow, why you are going to wake up tomorrow. You can, the society itself could start in a depressed environment, no, or express.
So please do not create an app that I can ask if I can wake up tomorrow or not, because bringing in all war situation because maybe it tells me sleep or even die, I don't know. Okay, thank you so much, Diego. Thank you. Now we come to the presentation from Daniel. A moment. I lost my link. Here we go. Daniel Perez Lozano. Daniel is a hardware development researcher specializing in cutting-edge technologies. He is presently employed at IMEC, where his primary focus lies in quantum computing and superconducting logic for high-performance computing. His ultimate objective is to enhance the computational capabilities of existing systems while simultaneously boosting their efficiency. Daniel, please.
Thanks for the introduction. Yeah, so also like Anna, I don't have any slides, but I will tell you a little bit more of what I do and how all this connects with the topics we are discussing today. So basically, what I do is it goes one layer underneath what we are discussing because I develop hardware. So I develop all the chips and the computers and so on that are needed to enable these technologies like AI. A little bit of a story of AI, the first algorithms and so, I think the 60s already, in the 70s or in the 80s, or the 40s already. The problem is they were so computational demanding that we didn't have the hardware to run them. But now we reach a point where we develop advanced enough hardware to have everything that you have seen now. That is as an example. Of course, this is going to continue. This is going on for the future. There are many companies interested in improving the computational capabilities. So this means we want to process more data in a shorter time and with less energy that we are currently using. Because one of the reasons of the models we have now, like ChatGPT or DALL-E or all the AI models you see today, they are bounded in the sense of hardware bounded. In the sense that, like, you don't have either they are you could improve them, but either they are too expensive, or we don't have enough computational power to make them more powerful. To give you as an example, ChatGPT, just in energy consumption, it takes to train the model, it takes about $2 million to train it. Of course, you can make it better, but then you need to be willing to spend $10 million, $100 million in just training these models. So this is partially limited by the hardware. So you have better hardware, you could train them faster and cheaper. But in the future, there is we are going to have better models, definitely, because they will improve the people developing the models in software. They are going to make them better, and also we will have enhanced hardware capabilities, and so it's gonna be there. So in the sense, so at some point we'll have, for instance, these avatars that Manu saw at the beginning. You could have real life, like you talking, or any camera recording and have everything real life and distinguishable from what is a real human or not. It's gonna happen. Now, for me, some interesting questions is like, who has control over these algorithms? Who has the capabilities of implementing or training these models? Because everything is really interlinked to the hardware capabilities. Now, the places where you train this model are huge data centers, Google, Amazon, other companies, big companies, very well-known companies. They have huge data centers with the best processor, GPUs, the best GPUs in the world, etc., etc. The problem is the supply chain for making this hardware is really limited. To give you as an example, the best GPUs, or graphical processing unit that exist, are NVIDIA H100R. There is only one company that can fabricate, well, there are two companies that can fabricate them, TSMC, which is this hardware company in Taiwan, which is actually, well, that company also produces 30% of the world consumption of chips, and also Samsung. But Samsung only, if we focus on these GPUs to train the artificial intelligence models, TSMC fabricates 90% of them, Samsung fabricates 10% of them. Also, to make these GPUs, you also need the tools. So there are several companies that produce the tools to make the chips. One, for sure, all of you know is Canon. Canon, the photo maker. They also make tools for making chips. So they have tools to make this. Also, there is a company to, let's say, write the designs. It's called ASML. It's a company in the Netherlands, and virtually this company has the monopoly of lithography machines in the world because this technology is so expensive, so advanced, that they are the only company capable of making these tools to make let's say, the GPUs. So whoever has the control over ASML can decide. Basically, now the board of the ASML can decide who has access to the technology or who doesn't. So if you get along with them, they will sell you the machines. If not, like is the case now, for instance, they don't sell any machines to China anymore because of geopolitics. So they don't have access to that. So in that context, there is an interlink, and these resources are so scarce in that sense that there is the question also who has access to this hardware that allows you to train these models that eventually will decide in our lives, or any other things also, like you can produce art, you can produce images, etc., etc. So these are questions. I mean, during my daily work, we don't discuss typically with other scientists about these things, but there are, when we go for beers or so, or sometimes there are eventually these philosophical questions, they appear, okay? And so that is how, in the way I related to this, how all this trend of AIs and all the resources that are behind, how can affect us, because it depends in many things. So for instance, also like, typically all these resources for AI also, they are cloud-based in the sense you don't have them at home in your computer. Although now there are models, you can download the models already trained and implement it in your computers. But if you want to train a model, you really need to access a data center on the cloud and train it and so on. So also, if you have access to these things or not, it's not dictated. I mean, it's democratic in the sense, like, as long as they give you access, but there are some gatekeepers that is not the states, probably typically are private companies that decide, okay, if I give you access or not. So all these questions is how open you want to do it. There are questions on many levels that appear. The more you talk, the more you think. And yeah, that is what I wanted to share with you guys, and we can probably discuss further.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Do you have a question? No? So this dependency on this material aspect, yeah, is very, very nicely that you actually mentioned here. How do you see it actually when discussing it also with your colleagues? So is this the machines and this kind of hardware that you were mentioning that you're working on, is this something that you actually do in a very specialized area, or is this something that could be used, for example, in the health sector as well as it could be used actually also for others? Or is this something that is very much related also to a field?
No, it's at the end is you make the processors of the computer. So once you have the hardware, you can apply it to whatever field you want. It's true that now, for instance, when you have a computer, your laptop, the processor that you have in your laptop is very slow to be used for training AI models. So you use another type of processor. But at the end, it's all microchips. So you just need to adapt it for your application, and that's all. So it's in that sense, it's universal.
Mm-hmm. And is there some kind of like, not a way of recycling, but some kind of pimp up possibility? So just in order not to produce new material or whatsoever or new computers, is there something like a tendency also to work with like older machines, but to pimp them up somehow? Is this also a possible thing, or is this just more for the DIY communities than to do or something? Or is it actually something like, is there a thought given for it?
Yeah, no. Typically, you don't. So you don't use slower machines because typically the next generation machines is not like they are 1.5 times faster. It's like they are 10 times faster, 100 times faster. So you just decided like it's not worth it. That the old things you just try to recycle or just throw away.
Okay. Good. And this kind of environmental questions, is this something that is also discussed, or?
Yeah. In the at least in the semiconducting industry, there are companies now. They are started with, especially with the Green Deal in the European Union and so on. They are starting to have lines of research on how to fabricate these new processors and new machines, having less environmental impact. But about the recycling is, you have a system that is 100 times faster. You just go for it. There is no much questions.
But the materials, no?
Yeah, but the recycling of microprocessors, there are so many minerals and materials employed that is extremely, it's very, very expensive. So no company implements it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do it maybe like a DIY community. You can say, okay, separate this and this and this, but there is no like professional company that recycle them in mass. Like you can recycle glass or paper, for instance.
Mm-hmm. So we have challenges on a data level, but also on a material level.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. Okay. Thank you very much, Daniel. Let's come to the last presentation from Kyriaki. Kyriaki Gourdi has this installation downstairs not for algorithmic audiences. And Kyriaki, born and based in Athens, works across media, exploring the political, affective, and environmental aspects of technology. She focuses on extractivism, surveillance, human and other than human relations, alternative networks, and infrastructures of care and community. Manifesting through websites, drawings, videos, sound, and text, her installations build alternative ecosystems and shared experiences by connecting the local with the planetary, the fictional with the scientific.
No. Is there anyone that can use?
No, on the point.
Great, thank you. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. It's great to be in Brussels. I actually just landed. I'm gonna share with you briefly some works of mine, starting from 10 years ago. I have realized when Manuela invited me to talk about this very interesting subject, namely the wisdom in relation to the algorithmic processes, I have realized that I have been moving around algorithms and algorithmic processes for almost 10 years now without really realizing that. So I'm going to share with you some works that have to do with algorithmic processes. I'm going to be very briefly on the descriptions, but feel free to ask more later in the questions or after the panel. The first work that I'm going to show you, it's called Deletion Process. Only you can see my history, and for me it was the first work that I really looked into algorithms. It has to do with me making public my 8-year search history in Google and asking from the audience to take part in a ritual of deletion, bringing into discussion things that have to do with search engines, the production of knowledge or the archiving of the self in absentia, and of course also the what later, I think in 2014, was called the right to be forgotten. 3 years later, I sort of created this fictional company, which is called Eternal You, and it was actually offering trainable algorithms, trainable neural networks for future Alzheimer's patients in order to keep their data and memory sort of alive, let's say, and to create a substitute for themselves. Same year, and revisiting this work in 2021, megastructures, I focused on gaze tracking technologies, looking into omni-surveillance systems and attention economy, using a very poetic, let's say, representation of the cloud, where behind that I hid infrastructures that have been huge, let's say, and at the same time keeping the trace of the gaze of the viewer and an image of their face, bringing all images of the viewers together and creating collective face actually stolen from its visitor. Again, algorithms and neural networks in 2018, Counting Craters on the Moon, bringing together two kinds of vision, machine vision versus human vision. So 2 crater spotters, a human, an astronomer, and DeepMoon, which was actually developed in 2018. It was a narrow neural network that it was set to count craters on the moon. I bring this together. I collaborated with the team that developed this neural network in the Institute of Astrophysics in Canada, in the University of Calgary. And I'm trying to bring together and explore the notion of vision, the error, and the effectiveness, let's say, in the collaboration between human and machine vision in this specific field of astronomy. Another work which was developed in 2 parts, 2020 and 2022, looks into datasets of love. Datasets that were actually created and uploaded by human users on Instagram under the hashtag couple goals. And at the same time, a dataset that was generated was generated by using DALL-E and Midjourney, which you all know, I guess. So I brought these 2 datasets together, and I was trying to understand what's part of these datasets, what's left out in from these datasets, and also how this tendency to label and categorize more and more in order to train this kind of algorithms, what kind of wisdom or not adds to our world. And at the same time, I wanted to underline this feedback, let's say, that the users uploaded the data uploaded by users that actually are feeding this kind of artificial intelligence systems. And as also was mentioned before, I find it very interesting that now more and more these generated images, these synthetic images are, actually the part that is the training data set, which is for me quite interesting and, maybe problematic as well. The work that it's part of the exhibition here that I hope that you will visit afterwards. It's about voice interfaces, digital assistants, and it's so to say a fictional digital assistant that actually before it expires and ends up in an e-waste dump, it starts for 7 consecutive days to share data about listening infrastructures, invisible labor, bias in data sets, and other things that you should go and explore. And the last work that I'm gonna very briefly share with you tonight is called the Mountain Island Selmurnas Eternally, and is actually a simulation of the mountains in the Dolomites in the north of Italy, where I was actually visiting because I was commissioned to create a work for a biennale there, and I was talking with local scientists that they told me that they have observed this uphill migration of trees because they are trying to find lower temperatures. So I created the simulation of the upward movement, and this is a discussion on prediction models, digital twins, and all this kind of trend that is around today about climate prediction models. To wrap it up, I will just say that for me, the most important discussion right now, it's like the extractive processes behind these models of algorithms, and also who is the accessibility that we said before as well, and the invisible labor behind these models that we don't really seem to understand that they are there. So yeah, if you have any questions, because I realized that this was a very quick description of, I think, 6 or 7 works, feel free to share them. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. We have, how much time do we have before we have to open the exhibition? Very quickly. We are in time, 5 minutes, okay. Yeah, so, does anybody have from you a question?
I want to know
yeah?
what you will be doing in 2050.
Nothing special. As you know, I mean, all these probabilistic algorithms, they are according with the data that according with the data that they are training with, they will produce a prediction. They don't know if there will be a change in our life and so on. And they always try also to find the bias or the middle of my activity. So basically, about, for example, the GPS location, they like always work in my studio because it's the more time that I spend in this year. So they start to find the median of the activity. But also what I did to fill I fill the model with my data, but also I fill the model with data from Twitter, for example, about topics about the future, about how will be 2050, because as everybody knows, 2050 is a year very important in our civilization. No? It's the year where climate change will be really, I mean, probably by the moment I did this project, 2050 was the year where we have the last chance to change the situation for the world warming. But I guess that unfortunately this year is coming closer and closer. I mean, maybe now we are passing the 1.5 limit, no? That they was asking the Paris and so on. So what I am trying to say is that I fill the model with information and talks and topics that I download from Twitter, and also I fill the model with scientific report about the world, the future of how will be the weather change and so on. For me, it's something like I have a pool and I mix everything, all this data. I mix all this data as a medieval chemistry, and I put everything together. Alchemist, exactly. In somehow, there is people who say that artificial intelligence today works somehow as an alchemist. So you mix everything, and then something happens. No? So that's what I did.
Before we come to the end round of the question, like what is wisdom in a calculated world? I prepared them so that this will be the final question to answer. And of course I was posing out also to myself, and somehow I always think also, for example, for me it's important, so to give you still a little bit time to think about it, so I start, is actually also the procedures. What does actually calculation mean? What kind of processes are going? What means? Why do we have to stick to some kind of logics? And then also what cannot be calculated. So is this to think about how much irritation, how much coincidence, how much disturbing things. What of course is easier that we do this in the arts. Maybe it's difficult for you in the health sector, but at least it's easier for us in the arts to think about these forms of irritation. Let's say that is actually important. So this is of course something what I think, what is wisdom in a calculated world, that I would say. Who wants to continue?
I can continue.
Yeah, to me, having wisdom in a calculated world is related to what I presented before, is to have a very open eyes and to be able to, because everything is based on the data, right? So we should be good observers in this world and do not, so we avoid bias, we include diversity, and we see the world as best as we can, because otherwise we will be in a world that is a bit like an alien, right? Made with the data that makes no sense towards the world we live in. So to me, it's to be able to have open eyes, let's say like this.
Yeah, for me, when I was coming to the presentation here, I was thinking about it because I read it in the email this morning, actually, when you said it, and I kept thinking a little bit. No, but it's for me, it's the wisdom in that context is the capability of prediction you have, in the sense, if you base, if you have, based on the information you have, you take the most absolute correct decision for the situation. I mean, it doesn't imply, it doesn't to be good in general or bad in general, it's just you adapt for each moment if you take the most absolute right decision. Because there are things, sometimes you can think, okay, with the data I have, this is the right decision, but it's not the true right decision. But I don't know if, maybe it's a little bit, I don't know how to express it, I don't know if how to express it in an easy way. Is every time you have a data set and you need to take a decision, there is always like the most optimal decision you can take in that situation. For me, the wisdom is being able to take that decision, let's say.
I think for me the important part in what we'll call wisdom would be probably to allow diversity and to find some kind of balance between different forms of intelligences, let's say.
So I don't even see any relation between wisdom and being able to calculate. If we think about, if I think about a machine and what it might be able to achieve, and I think we hope that it's infallible, that it calculates something correctly, and I don't know, but wisdom, I have never hoped for a machine to be wise. So I think we would all study history if historical data would automatically lead to wisdom. So yeah, the kind of insights that algorithms, AI calculations will offer us lack other capabilities, like, for example, let's say part of wisdom could be the courage to change or to imagine different scales and interdisciplinary cultural species bridging. But I'm getting a bit lost now, so probably I'm not very wise. Yeah. So I think calculation, to me, it's still limited to a lot of correlation, but still far away from wisdom. So to me, it's really important that we pay attention to the socio-political, economic, and ecological circumstances that will power the increased performance of machines. And it's down to us, or the wise humans that are somewhere, to shape that.
Okay, so for me, it's something like we are entering in an epoch where scientists, or the science, is changing from is changing from a methodological point of view. I mean that before this data and calculated world, scientists try to analyze, to predict, try to find the answer according with a different system of calculations, no? Or different system of way of thinking. But today it looks like all the scientists, I have two partners here, so they are, I don't know if they agree with me, but they are working just with data. They are giving the decision of the prediction or the decision of the solution of the problem, of the answer of the hypothesis. They are relating all this about to the data. So it means that the new methodology concept is like I will try to collect as much data I can about this hypothesis, and I will try. I will train a model, and with this model, I will give answer about my hypothesis. No, so this is more or less the paradoxical situation of changing now. So wisdom probably is. I hope the wisdom will be that scientists don't will forget the other part, and also the part of the previous knowledge. I mean the part of the previous methodologies, and try to find a mix between this new methodology. Is what I like about the talk that was talking about how you can train model for cancer, no? To find the good one, and how you could discover what model is good, what model is working bad. So in order to really measure the quality of the model. And also another point is that the data collected could be for a qualitative or a quantitative point of view. No? So we are always about quantity and taking every much data as possible, but there is a lot of data that we are still not collecting. No? And this is the qualitative, as we are always talking about the bias. But the important is that there is a lot of data that is still not digitalized. We are still living in a physical world, and this physical world is not still totally digitalized. Probably in the future will be, but there is a long way that this will happen. In that sense, I would like to mention neuroscience. No? Neuroscience is a topic that now, correlated with data and wisdom, is having a true revolution. It's very, very hard, very interesting how with now neuroscientists are training and collecting data from our brain, analyzing our brain, scanning our brain, and trying, even collecting our thinking, our thoughts in our brain. I don't know if you see this This paper probably everybody knows, no? This experiment that people think in an idea, think in an image, and the computer generate with an AI model the image that the people are thinking. This is already able to do it. As neuroscientists are doing that already, no? So they are collecting our brains, our memories, our image, our thinking, our thoughts, and they are able to analyze them, and they are able. So there is many interesting legal issues about that, because we are entering a war in a moment where technology and neuroscientists could go inside our brains and could collect our privacy. Sorry.
Okay, thank you very much for all your contributions. Is there really nobody who wants to say something about wisdom in a calculated world? What you think, what could be a wisdom? Okay, we discuss it then with a beer. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for all your participation. Thank you very much for presenting also what we cannot see in the exhibition. I enjoyed it a lot that we were focusing on this topic. I enjoyed a lot all your contributions that you were actually doing. And it even convinces me more and more that we actually have to think about it, that we have to write about it, that we have to make a catalog about our exhibition. I will work hard on this, and thank you very much. Thank you.
I would like to thank Imal that hosted now exhibition, hosted now this is fantastic laser talk, and also I would like to thank our technical team to make it possible that everything now is streaming and everybody can be with us today. Thank you very much.